A bizarre development has taken place in Russia. Sketchy details, but shocking revelations nevertheless. Some young Indian men are claiming that they signed up for a job as helpers in the Russian army. But these were meant to be side roles as a guard or a helper, an assistant, not in combat. But only to find themselves being pushed into a bloody war they say they never signed up for. This is what some of the Indians stuck in Russia had to say. Listen in.
मैं अपनी जान बचाकर बड़ी मुश्किल से भागा हूँ। ग्रेनेड, आर्टिलरी, हर चीज वहाँ पे गिर रही थी।
12 नवंबर को हम यहाँ पर रीच हो गए, जो यहाँ की राजधानी है, यहाँ पर हम उतरे और उसके बाद वो भर्ती सेंटर लेकर कर गए हमें। उसके बाद उन्होंने यहाँ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट वगैरह जो उन्होंने साइन कराए, लेकिन वो सारे जितने भी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स थे वो यहाँ की लोकल लैंग्वेज में थे। हमें कुछ भी समझ में नहीं आता था, ना उन्होंने हमें ट्रांसलेट किया।
The promise was 1 to 1.5 lakh rupees with additional bonus to do this work in Russia. There is apparently a contract that is signed, but not in the language that most of these men understood. They were simply excited for a better life, and with the promise, they jumped in, but were soon confronted with a horrific reality. Once they touched down Russia, they were provided basic training to handle weapons, and then the bombshell dropped. Some of these men say they were sent to Mariupol, Kharkiv, and Donetsk. These cities may sound familiar to you. Yes, these are the same border areas engulfed in Ukraine's war with Russia. A promise of job stability, but ended up as involuntary soldiers of this bloody war. The videos that have emerged, and some of these videos confirmed by India Today, show that these men look terrified because they realize that time is running out. Some of them have also shown injuries on their body.
इतना होने के बाद भी हम लोग को बोल रहे हैं, एजेंट लोग को हम लोग को आर्मी में डाला है, तो तभी भी वो बोल रहे हैं कि नहीं, तुम लोग को बॉर्डर पर नहीं लेके जाएंगे, तुम लोग की जॉब सिक्योरिटी रहेगी, तुम लोग की ट्रेनिंग चल रही है, ऐसा वैसा बता रहे वो लोग।
But this has sadly turned worse, and in the latest, a 23-year-old man from Gujarat who was deployed as a helper with the Russian army has died. The family of Hemel Mangukia from Surat has been informed of the same. How did this issue surface in public domain? One of the men was from Hyderabad, and that is how MEA Member of Parliament Asaduddin Owaisi was contacted by the families. He then contacted the External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, wrote to the Indian Embassy in Moscow, and also made a public statement urging immediate intervention. According to Owaisi, these men are from Telangana, Gujarat, Karnataka, Jammu and Kashmir, and Uttar Pradesh, possibly more states too. This is how the information came in the public domain. So what has been the government response amid all of this? On 26th February, the latest statement that has come from the Ministry of External Affairs, and I quote from it: "Every such case brought to the attention of the Indian Embassy in Moscow has been strongly taken up with the Russian authorities, and those brought to the attention of the ministry have been taken up with the Russian Embassy in New Delhi. Several Indians have already been discharged as a result." This is the important sentence. The statement also adds, "We remain committed as a matter of top priority to actively pursue with the Russian authorities all the relevant cases of Indian nationals for an early discharge from the Russian army." But remember the earlier statement that came in from the External Affairs Ministry? What did it say? Exercise caution, advising all Indian nationals to stay away from the conflict. Why the term caution? Because amid these allegations, one man's name has surfaced, a YouTube vlogger who runs a digital channel for job recruitment. Now, most of these men who are stuck in Russia have mentioned this one channel repeatedly. They have alleged that they were tricked for the job via this YouTube channel. Is he the one who managed to con vulnerable individuals and convince them of the job? And was he the only agent who sent people to death, literally? Or are there more con men and women? Is there a network full-fledged, misleading young men specifically into dangerous jobs? The agents, according to reports, charged close to 3.5 lakh rupees each as their fee. This deserves a thorough inquiry by the government and the police. If these charges are proven correct, they must face stringent action.
मैं रशिया आया था जॉब करने के लिए एजेंट के थ्रू। एजेंट का नाम है बाबा और उसका यूट्यूब पे चैनल है बाबा ब्लॉग्स। और हम लोग रशिया आने के बाद वो हमको आर्मी में डाल दिया।
हमने ट्रेनिंग देखी, मैंने कहा ये तो बिल्कुल लड़ाई वाली ट्रेनिंग है। हमने एजेंट्स को कांटेक्ट किया, हमने कहा कि ये ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं, हमें ये काम नहीं करना है, हमें वापस जाना है घर पे।
Remember, all this is happening in a nation which is not hostile to India. This is Russia, a long-time friend. So we, of course, expect fast redressal to this issue. And we thankfully have seen some action that appears to have already been taken with this regard. The fact is, India may be friends with Russia, but it is also friendly with Ukraine. And India has nothing to do with this battle. We want to keep our distance. In fact, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had said at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in 2022, today's era is not a war.
As I have said directly and publicly, this is not an era of war.
Despite international public opinion swaying away from Russia, sanctions imposed by the Western world, India stood by the stance of maintaining close ties with Russia and also maintaining distance from this war. Recently, when India was questioned on keeping balance between USA and Russia while other nations were at loggerheads, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar said this: "If I have options for my country, you should be appreciating that." Here's the context to that.
From non-alignment to, I think you may have called it, or somebody else called it, all alignment. So you can pick and choose alliances, but you can also pick and choose topics. On Russia, for example, you still buy Russian oil. Is that okay with your counterpart from the US? Everything is, your relationship is fine, you can do whatever you want, whenever you want?
Okay. First of all,
I mean, you're sitting next to each other.
No.
So.
First of all, delighted to be here, and I couldn't find a better set of people to be with on the stage. So thank you for whoever put us all together. Your question: do we have multiple options? Answer is yes. Is that a problem? Why should it be a problem? If I'm smart enough to have multiple options, you should be admiring me. You shouldn't be criticizing.
A friendship that was forged in 1971 when Russia was the Soviet Union. Now the Soviet era is gone. The Berlin Wall has fallen and no Cold War is on presently. Countries do not have to side with one power or another. However, the legacy of India-Russia alliance continues. It's a strong strategic and defense partnership. Western nations, specifically the United States of America, have asked India to stop the import of Russian crude oil due to the ongoing war. India chose to look at the domestic interests. Because remember, we are not a developed country like the Western world. We do not have the resources that other countries may have in times of dire need. According to reports, Indian refiners have saved approximately $7 billion in foreign exchange till the month of May in 2023. Russia managed to save their economy also amid the cost of war and the sanctions. There are about 500 registered business run by Indian origin individuals in Russia, most regarding the imported products. Over 4,500 Indian students are enrolled in medical and technical courses in Russia. They pay an average fee of about 2.5 lakh rupees to 5 lakh rupees per year. It is in many ways a 5-year course. All of this helps Russia as much as it does for India too. So now it's time for Russia to ensure that our men are not put in danger. If these recruits do not want to join the war, why push them in? Diplomacy, democracy and dialogue is needed today to ensure that the men return back home safe. Thank you for watching.